are live. Happy Monday, Mob Crew. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Yeah, we got a lot of big updates for the Hannah Kobayashi case. Just breaking news coming out now. I've covered this story last week, and there has been some recent sightings, and we'll get into that. Maybe we'll break the breaking news because I think everybody's doing that now. For anybody that's not familiar with the case, I'll play just a quick 2-minute recap just to kind of get you familiar with it if you're not, and then we'll show the breaking news, and then we'll kind of go back and look because there actually are now, kind of looking back at it, there were clues that she was planning to go to a different country. And yeah, this is a wild story. I think it's kind of bittersweet because, in one regards, of course, it sounds like hopefully she's safe. Still don't know, what her mentality is, her mental health. Is she also with somebody? There's still so much more information we still don't know. There's claims that the family knew a lot of this information, and some people are mad because there was a GoFundMe, and so that's the reason why I never post GoFundMe's. I swear, there's so many times, not all the time, but there's always these times where these GoFundMe's get set up for missing people, and for whatever reason, it just goes south. Not all the time, but so that's why I'm always cautious about posting those. I know other channels will do that because they're trying to help the families of the missing people, and they want to do the right thing. But man, I've seen it time and time again where there's issues. So welcome everybody. Good to see you guys. Let me quickly play just a 2-minute recap, and then we'll play the breaking news, and then we'll recap the timeline and everything of where she started at and what likely happened, and then there's still a lot more mystery to this case. Absolutely wild. So let me play this recap for you guys real quick, and then we'll get into the breaking news.
Where is Hannah Kobayashi, the 30-year-old woman from Hawaii who went missing 15 days ago?
Let me get this full page here. Here we go.
Where is Hannah Kobayashi, the 30-year-old woman from Hawaii who went missing 15 days ago on her way to visiting her aunt in New York? Here's what we know. It was on Friday, November 8th, Hannah flew from Maui to Los Angeles and missed her connecting flight to New York. Saturday, November 9th, Hannah was seen at the Grove Shopping Mall. It's a popular mall in downtown LA where she went to a bookstore to charge her phone. Sunday, November 10th, Hannah went back to the Grove and was seen in the background of a video attending a LeBron James event. Then on Monday, the 11th, Hannah went back to the airport. At some point, she sent some very concerning texts. She was saying that she was scared and had been tricked, quote, into giving away all my funds for someone I thought I loved. That same night, Hannah was reportedly seen leaving the airport with an unidentified person. But later that night, surveillance video, which has not been released, shows Hannah at a train station, also with an unidentified person. I spoke to Hannah's aunt a few days ago about the video. Take a listen.
There's no reason that Hannah would go there unless she was misled, unless she was forced to, or unfortunately now we're thinking unless she was drugged. It made us extremely alarmed to the point where we started sounding the alarm as loud as we could.
Okay, that's just a quick little recap on it, and we'll go back, but we'll get into the breaking news because I'm sure a lot of people want to hear what's going on. Because technically, she's been spotted. I don't know if "found" is the correct word because again, this is we're almost, well, I wouldn't say a month, but we're about 3 weeks behind, at least her tracks. But at the very least, the last time she was spotted was with some stranger. That was kind of like the breaking news, a week and plus more ago. That kind of the last sighting that the family knew of. was that she was seen leaving the tracks near this crypto arena in California, and then from there, she was spotted allegedly with an unidentified male. They said, I believe, African male. Um, and then from there was just kind of speculation. And then there was a guy, SF Investigates, who was investigating the case, and then he decided that he felt like what he had discovered was that she was literally just kind of going out on her own, and that she wasn't actually abducted or wasn't drugged. And then after the death of her father, her biological father, and then for those that don't know, they were estranged, but he still went out and searched for her. But then he tragically took his own life on November, I believe, 24th. She was at the time last seen on November 11th or 12th. I think it's 11th. And that sparked, some wild conspiracies. And then from there, I guess SF Investigates got back into it, and then discovered more things. So we'll get into the breaking news, and then for those that don't know the full story, and then again, if you do kind of go back and look at some of her text messages, there are some clues now about possibly her intentions. But again, there's so much that we don't know. But I do know, there's some people that are upset because the family set up some GoFundMes. I mean, they had the aunt out there looking, also with the biological father. But some people believe that the family knew that she was on the run, or I don't know, on the run, but, just going out and doing whatever she wanted to do. And they still had this GoFundMe. And so, I don't know. Hopefully maybe they'll make a statement, and we'll get to the truth. But let's hit the breaking news, and then we'll kind of backtrack and get everybody on page here. So let me just go ahead and roll the update from today. This was just posted, and this one in particular was posted less than 30 minutes ago. Let's see, because this is California. That's 2 hours. So yeah, that was about 2 hours ago. Okay, so again, at the time, just a couple days ago, all of the public knew at the time, other than maybe some investigators, is that she was last seen on, I believe, November 11th. Again, like I just said earlier, that she was seen with this unidentified male, and that was kind of it. Since then, allegedly, she got a ticket on a Greyhound bus and went south. And again, we'll kind of recap all that. But this Greyhound bus goes to this town that I'm going to butcher probably, that's right near the border of Mexico, Tijuana. And so here is the article. I'll read this, and then we'll kind of backtrack here, and then we'll check chat as well. So it says Hannah is also believed to be in Mexico. Law enforcement sources close to the case told the Times on Monday afternoon, today, that investigators believe the missing Hawaii woman is now in Mexico. The news follows a statement from Chief Jim McDonnell that Kobayashi intentionally missed her connecting flight, which they had mentioned this, I can't remember exactly, I want to say week or weeks ago. They believe that she did intentionally, not unfortunately, missed her flight, because for those that don't know the backstory, she came from Hawaii to Los Angeles. She was supposed to hit a connecting flight from LAX. So her trip was going to be at New York. She had this itinerary that she had made, and I believe sent to her family. And so she, at the time, the family thought that she just missed the flight, but now they're claiming she intentionally did that. Because apparently, according to the investigator as well, he said that there was plenty of flights in between the time frame from when she got there, that she could have aborted a bunch of different flights that had room to get her, back out to New York, but she never took those. So it says she went missing on November 8th after catching a flight from Hawaii to Los Angeles with a connecting flight that would ultimately take her to New York, where she planned to visit relatives. Her family became worried as she landed at LAX and then sent cryptic text messages suggesting that someone was trying to steal her money and identity, which was very concerning. And then it says Kobayashi family did not immediately respond to the Times request for comment on Kobayashi being in Mexico. So I think a lot of people are kind of wondering what the family is going to say because, again, there's kind of two sides. Did the family know or did they not? And then it says McDonald briefed the LA Commission about this case on November 26th meeting, which I think I have a clip of that. It says on Friday, November 8th. It just kind of repeats itself there. And there's that. The lack of communication around some important details has left us feeling excluded potentially crucial developments, said Cindy Kobayashi. That is her sister, who I believe is in Hawaii. There's Cindy, and then I think Brandy Yee, which is the mother of Hannah. It says the department is doing everything in their power to assist in locating Hannah, according to Kobayashi's family. And then it repeats itself again, which is weird. And of course, we'll kind of recap everything. On November 12th, so at the time, we only had like up to November 11th. She was last seen, again, as I mentioned earlier, this kind of late in the evening, around 9 p.m. She was seen around this. She had gotten off the Pico Metro line, which was near the Cryptic Arena. And it's about, from there, it's about an hour walk and maybe a 30 minute drive about, I want to say northeast to the Greyhound station that is out there. And, but at the time they had only seen the footage where she exited this, metro station with this unidentified male. And that was kind of it for a long time. And now, on November 12th, Kobayashi was captured again on video footage at the Greyhound bus station terminal, Union Station, downtown LA at around 6:30 a.m. So that next morning, which is newer details, she was allegedly seen on video footage, and we'll look at that as well. Not the actual footage of her, but the place itself. The investigator did go there, and I do have that footage. From there, apparently she took that bus and she headed south, right close to the border. Let's see. Then it talks about her father, who they were estranged, but learning of his daughter's disappearance and concerned, he went out there searching for her, and then sadly, just really odd, ended up taking his life, jumped off a parking lot garage, which is really just absolutely terrible. That sparked a lot of, obviously, speculation as to why he did that. Did he discover something? I think a lot of people thought maybe he discovered that she was being trafficked. That was kind of the big a lot of people were kind of speculating on that. Okay, so that is the article. I think I got one more here, and then we'll recap everything. So Scott says she was spotted by who? So she was spotted actually on surveillance. So it just seems like they're playing catch up where they just keep seeing her on these surveillance. But, of course her last one was November 12th, maybe. So, obviously they're clearly playing catch up. So here is another statement, by this guy here. Let's have a listen, and then we'll get kind of play the timeline. And then again, there are clues to this possible deception or whatever, this plan.
And from Maui says they're frustrated over the LAPD's latest updates regarding her search. Speaking at a police commissioners meeting last week, LAPD Chief Jim McDonald says Kobayashi intentionally missed her connecting flight from LAX to New York on November 8th. Hannah's sister says she and her family were never contacted by police about the latest findings. They also claim that specific facts shared by McDonald in the meeting were inaccurate, like her age and when she was reported missing. Meanwhile, the family has taken down a Facebook page dedicated to her search efforts, claiming they have been receiving death threats.
From what I understand, Beth, now take this with a grain of salt. I did see somewhere where it was stated that he left a note. I don't know if that's true. Take that with a huge grain of salt. But I did see that they allegedly left a note as well. Let's see. I'm going to see if there's anything. Okay, so investigators said border. Okay, so here is the big news. Investigators said border security video showed Kobayashi leaving the United States near Tijuana between November 12th and 13th, a day or so after members of the family said they had last heard from her via text message. So it seems about around the time that they were starting to go out there and search for her, she was already basically now in Mexico, which is pretty wild. Reported 23. Okay, just reading that. Then it talks about the father taking his life. Okay, everything about that is just what I just talked about. Thought maybe there was... Oh, and yeah, and there's evidence of no foul play as what they say right now. But again, they're still like way behind. So here's another article. Woman who vanished after landing in LA spotted crossing into Mexico. No evidence of foul play at this time. Hey, Naughty, good to see it. Yeah, there was some people thinking, and yeah, there was some signs. So we'll go and look at that, and then we'll keep an eye on. I don't know. There was kind of rumors there was going to be either. I don't know if there was going to be a press conference, but maybe just a press release, not a conference, which might have been just what we just saw here. Keeps posting this article, but there's no actual... Okay, so that's the same thing. I was expecting to hear from him. All right, let's go. Let's recap this and look at some of the some red flags here.
Where is Hannah Kobayashi, the 30-year-old woman?
All right. We'll go over... we'll kind of go pretty fast here, but just to kind of get everybody on the same page for anybody that's not familiar with this case. But we'll go pretty fast, and we'll get up to the timeline and kind of where there were some red flags and where there was possible, mentions of items that she had that could allude to that she was planning to skip the country for whatever reason. Still, this could be an issue where she could be having some kind of mental health issues. We still don't know. There's still so many unanswered questions. So here, just kind of background on her. So she made plans, November plans, to go from Maui, and she was going to go with her then boyfriend. What's the name of her boyfriend has not been released, but I have seen the word Amun. I don't know if that's her boyfriend or not. Anybody in the chat knows. I've seen Alan and Amun, and we're going to talk about Alan here in a little bit later, which gets really odd. But she was a aspiring photographer, and she was going to go to New York. She had some gigs set up, and there's even people that because she has this itinerary that she made for New York, very, very detailed and everything. And she had hotels booked and everything. And so, uh, but then her and her boyfriend broke up. They couldn't get refunds for the flights, so they still took the flights, to LAX, and well, the X then continued on to JFK, which is New York. But according to her, when she landed in LAX, instead of taking her connecting flight, now according to the official statement, she intentionally missed her connecting flight. Um, and let's get into the timeline. So, traveling to New York, she landed in LAX for a layover. November 8th is when this all started. She was seen on surveillance, but she did not attempt to catch her connecting flight. She was last heard from, actually, technically November 11th, from the family or friends. And then up until now, it was really the last time they had heard or actually seen her on footage was November 11th. And that same day, her phone last pinged. They believed she left her phone somewhere in Los Angeles. So here she's landing at LAX 9:53. She had plenty of time to make her connecting flight, which was at 11 p.m., but she did not. Then the next following day, she's seen walking around in LA. She went to this LeBron James event. She went to a bookstore. She was speaking with family. And then I believe she was
drove in LA for the
spending
Nike
the
events,
night at
maybe
the
Baki
airport, is the theory here. And then she was spotted on a YouTube video just for just a few seconds
everything,
here.
the mirrored ceilings, probably one of the coolest places I've seen. Here's the LeBron James event. So here's the line to get in. You walk down the tunnel.
Stuff on fire, which is why they have a big scheme, and it's black and melon. Yeah, I don't know, Heather Bell. I mean, yeah, there's still a lot we don't know. Of course, you could speculate. There's still some stuff that's clearly fishy for sure. And I understand the public, especially if you were involved in the Facebook group pages and, you donated to the GoFundMe's and, now there's allegations that the family kind of knew these details, that she was kind of basically kind of on the run. I don't know if on the run is the right word, but, she's just kind of going off and doing her own thing. But then it all kind of started. So the players, we have Sydney and Brandy. Sydney, the sister, Brandy Yee, the mother. They had ran a Facebook group, Help Find Hannah. Then we had the aunt, Laurie Pigeon, who I believe is based out of New York. And then she went out to search for Hannah. She was looking in Skid Row because Hannah had mentioned that she might be staying at the shelter. And then we have the biological dad, Ryan Kobayashi. He also went out searching for her, but of course he was estranged from her daughter. I believe she has a stepfather that I believe she's closer to. But then sadly he took his life on November 24th, which was just really odd. And then we have this itinerary, which is just really odd that she built this, itinerary that I believe she sent to her mother or family. And it talks about, when she got into JFK, New York. You know, she has all these events. She's gonna see the
No, she was in
memorial.
12 days.
She even had a gig, a photography job that she was gonna do that she set up with this guy. And somebody reached out to that guy, J.W. Francis, and asked him like, "Hey, did she actually, set up a gig?" And he said, "Yeah." So, really odd. But in these messages, there are hints, and we will get into them.
Since we've last heard from her and since her phone has gone dead. And now it's just kind of a waiting game. The family did all they could to try to find.
It's
to try
definitely
to do our
possible. I mean, we
investigation, but
still
now
don't know all
it's
the
in the hands of
details,
the
Heather.
police,
That's for
and the
sure.
investigators.
One thing I'm confused by is that she went back to the airport and was trying to, it sounds like, buy a ticket so she didn't have to be on standby. So if she went back to the airport, it sounds like she wanted to get to New York. So something, I guess, happened from the time
I
after
don't
she
know.
went back to LAX. Is that right?
Oh,
Yeah,
wow, we got
so
900 people in here.
from what we can tell, and just to let you know, she landed at 9:53 p.m. On Friday, so it was late in the evening. So from what we can tell is that she was on standby. The reason that she was going, out to the same place, the Grove, she must have been staying there somewhere around that area. She felt safe there. It's very touristy. And then she was at the airport speaking with an American Airlines agent, and she was like, "I want to get out of here." Like, and that kind of lines up with the frustration via the text messages. And then, on the 11th, it was just the strangest text, the most bizarre text. It caused such alarm in the family before we even knew something was wrong. And then, through our investigation, we were made aware of video footage of her on the metro.
Yeah, the itinerary is
late in the
interesting
evening,
for sure,
on the
Liz.
11th,
Yeah.
and being, exiting the train at the Pico station at the Pico station at 10 p.m. is terrifying. It's dangerous. There's no reason that Hannah unless she was misled, unless she was forced to, or unfortunately now we're thinking unless she was drugged.
Oh, let me
Well,
move
we
this over
obviously
a
haven't been
little
able to
bit.
see the surveillance video. Police haven't
There we
released it.
go.
I'm just thinking all these places she was are the kinds of places there would be a lot of cameras. The subway station, the shopping center, the airport. Has the family
Yeah,
been able
yeah.
to
All these places that she's going to definitely have tons of surveillance footage. So I'm sure they should be able to catch up to her at least till she's in Mexico. Then, depending on where she went, then that's kind of that's a whole new ball game. But let me fast forward a little bit because there is a lot. I don't want to go through all this. We're just gonna get into the timeline, and I've got an actual visual timeline because I like to have visual timelines for everybody to kind of understand where she was at, what she was allegedly doing. Again, there's so much more we still don't know. And again, it's of a bittersweet situation because for somebody like me that's covered missing people all the time, a lot of the times it doesn't end well. So it's kind of, again, it's bittersweet because it's like, for right now, we know she, at least up until November 12th or 11th, we know she's still alive and possibly doing her own thing, which in my opinion, is great because, we don't want, there was theories of human trafficking, her being drugged. But again, there's still so much more we don't know.
That haven't heard from her either. No one has heard from her. Not a single person has heard from her.
Yeah.
And that is unlike Hannah. Hannah checks in, like I said, I speak to her 2 to 3 times a week, about music, about dancing, about
Hey, Fly Girl.
a sunset that she saw. She's just that person. She's so communicative.
Interesting.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find.
Okay, so we're gonna get into her travels and with the visual, and then we're gonna do the updates, and then we're gonna get into a little bit of the rabbit holes. I try to always stick with the facts that we know, but I am gonna go a little bit in the rabbit hole, not too far, but there are some weird things mentioned, and I believe there are some hints that she had planned to go out of country, which we'll talk about. So let's kind of jump into that. But while they were searching, again, I'm just going to quickly recap this. The father, again, he was estranged. Maybe he was trying to kind of make up for that, looking for her. And then for some reason, he he took his life. He jumped off some kind of parking lot garage. They do not believe it was foul play. And I'd seen somewhere there was like a note written. I don't know that for sure. Again, please take that with a huge, huge grain of salt.
To take a turn for the worse for Hana Kobayashi when she missed her connecting flight on a quick layover, which then led to her disappearance in LA. And now in a very disturbing turn, yesterday morning about a mile away from here,
it could be, yeah.
Leading the search, took his own life.
Yeah.
It's almost too much for anyone to think, but we're still here.
One tragedy on top of another. Ryan Kobayashi takes his own life after 2 weeks of exhausting the search for his missing daughter, Hannah.
So
He died
terrible.
of a broken heart. He broke. He mentally broke. And that's the thing. It's like, you don't know how you would react unless it was your daughter.
Right. Hannah's aunt, Laree Pigeon, says they are fully confident she is alive in LA, but
Yeah,
not safe.
it's possible.
What makes you believe she's in extreme danger?
The family has fears of her being sex trafficked and being.
So here again, here's her itinerary, and here's this J.W. Francis guy who's I believe a musician, and he hires a photographer, and he had a job for her, I believe. And, somebody asked him, like, did she contact you? Because this was supposed to be for November 19th, I believe. And he responded. He said, yeah, I reached out. Hannah reached out to me in October saying she was coming to New York and asked if she could come take photos. I told her I could not afford to hire a photographer, but could get her a press pass if she wanted to be there, and she agreed. That was what I last heard. So it's kind of interesting that she makes this itinerary. She books hotels. Very detailed itinerary, which we'll look a little bit more into. But it's the text messages that we're going to definitely focus on. There's a few things that she mentions that do hint that maybe she had other plans. Or maybe it was a plan B. Who knows?
Against her will.
Without disclosing details that could jeopardize the case, Pigeon says people have most recently spotted the 30-year-old Maui woman around Metro's Union Station, and, quote, it didn't look good. Before suddenly vanishing, Kobayashi was seen on video exploring the Grove, Crypto.com Arena, and back at LAX on November 11th, trying to rebook the connecting flight she missed 3 days earlier. Then her phone went dead. Described as a responsible, level-headed woman who sticks to her plans. Last week, family and friends shared with us her final strange text messages. They say sound nothing.
I think it started out, Lopez, I hope I pronounced that right. I apologize if I didn't. When you have all these messages that she sent to her friend, which is really odd, and the family says it's odd, with these deep hackers, wiped identity. It does sound like she was, getting involved in the wrong crowd. So I do understand the concern with the family if they didn't, know about any of this.
Like her. Deep hackers wiped my identity, stole all my funds. And I'm just really scared, love, and the Redwoods if calling me. I risk my freedom if this goes wrong for me, hun. The day after Hannah disappeared, her dad got on a plane and Pigeon says was doing everything in his power to find her until he just couldn't take it anymore.
Okay, so we'll skip forward here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to play what I built is the timeline with all the visuals for you guys, and even somebody that ran into her. There was a false sighting that was released, I think, yesterday, which I can't remember if this is Venice Beach, but this was kind of posted a lot yesterday, but it's not her. As you can see, different clothing, not to say that she could get other clothing, but according to SF Investigates, he went out and said that these are not.
Oven was seen in the
This is
background
not
of a
her.
video of attending a LeBron James event. And on Monday, the 11th, Hannah went back to the airport. At some point, she sent some very concerning texts. She was saying that she was scared.
She was
So I
misled.
just wanted to
Monday,
point that out.
November 10th, 2020.
Okay, now the timeline with all the visuals, and then we'll get into the rabbit hole and then see if there's more updates, and then look at the clues that she did kind of post. So let's get into it here.
She's making the most of a kind of negative situation, especially after the trip already was. I just finished a very intense spiritual awakening. I'm charging my phone and heading back to the airport to get to NYC. I might need some help getting there. It's a long story. I'll keep you posted. I think I still have my hotel room. Hannah also allegedly apologizes for the, quote, craziness and says, quote, I have definitely been intercepted. I say apparently because there is a screenshot of the text that I just read, but these other ones, we don't have a text of them, but this is what her family is reporting was said. But definitely concerning. You know, the first one seems kind of normal. Oh, I am still coming to New York. But then to say, I have definitely been intercepted is a little bit concerning, especially with what else was said.
Yeah, and we can't confirm when these other text messages were sent. This hasn't been released, but at some point while Hannah was in LA, she texted a friend saying, quote, I got hacked. Now the friend responds, quote, hacked by who? Then Hannah responds again saying, stripped of my identity. I can't fly. The friend then says, wait, what? How did you get to LA from Maui? Hannah then replies, some weird shit, babe. The friend then asks Hannah to explain so that she can try and help. And Hannah says, I can't go to the PO, likely meaning the police. Hannah's friend then says, explain it to me so I can try and be of help to you. Hannah then alarmingly says, I got tricked pretty much into giving away all of my funds for someone that I thought I loved. I've been on the streets.
Which doesn't really make sense, because, you know, she's allegedly split up with her ex, so I don't know who she's referred to about being tricked by someone she thought she loved, which is really strange. But in these other text messages, there's a couple of clues, and I think she was trying to, in my opinion, just kind of what I'm getting, a possible theory is that she was trying to trick people and thinking she was going to be going up north to the Redwoods, but really she was going to be going the other way.
She also apparently told a friend, quote, deep hackers wiped my identity, stole all of my funds, and have had me on a mindfuck since Friday. Because were these texts coming from Hannah herself? We don't really know.
Yeah, and again, at this point, because like you're saying, the police are keeping a lot of the information to themselves, the family is not able to release certain details. We don't know when a lot of these other texts were sent.
And yeah, that's been some frustration with people that they feel like some of the family members, because, you know, I think you got the mom and sister, and then you have the aunt, and it seems like, you know, they're kind of, according to some people, that they're trying to control the narrative. And I guess in the main Facebook group page, which I was never a part of, I was kind of just part of a different Facebook page, just kind of getting some details and stuff in the screenshots. But yeah, some claim that they may have known more, but didn't want to release it to the public, and that was frustrating people. And then some claim that they were kind of changing the narratives, and I think that's kind of an issue. There was a former detective on a different show saying, you know, when you have like a case like this and you have a family member, you should really just have like one main family member, you know, putting out the information, because then if you get other family members, you might be getting conflicting narratives, and then that's going to raise red flags. And so again, it just turned into a mess.
And again, if there was other communication, if anybody talked to her on the phone and confirmed that she was okay and what was happening, if she had any money, if she was on the streets, what does that mean? We know she slept at the airport a lot, but how was she eating? You know, how was she getting around? We know, we're going to talk about in a second, that she took the metro, but was she taking the metro the whole time? Because to get from different parts of LA to LAX, like LAX is not in the middle of LA. It's in Inglewood. It's out of the way.
Right. And Los Angeles, just as a whole, is not a walkable city. Like, you pretty much have to drive to get anywhere or take some sort of public transit.
So basically what they're saying is, like, even though she's messaging saying like all my funds are gone, she's still somehow traveling to all these different areas, which obviously requires funds. So was she really, you know, tricked like she said in the messages, or was this kind of like a ruse? Again, there's still so much we don't know, but yeah, so I don't fly much, but what I understand is because she never made that connected flight, the luggage eventually got sent back, and so I'm assuming that's what she was doing, is waiting. That's why she was spending the nights at LAX, appearing like she was trying to get on a connected flight, but I guess allegedly waiting for that the luggage to come back from New York, which it did come back on November 11th, which she did pick up.
Absolutely.
But let's go back to Monday, November 11th. After Hannah sent that text to her aunt that she was headed back to the airport and was going to find a flight to New York City. And this is a very important piece of this story.
And let me just pause this real quick. We got 1,200 people in here. Mods, let me know how the chat is. If I need to slow it down more, please let me know, guys. Please, if you can, hit that like button. And God bless everybody taking the time out of the day to watch the show. Bless you guys. So right now we are kind of in the middle of the timeline here. And again, I've got the visuals and the different areas that she went to. Here is a screenshot of her now getting her luggage. Before, she just had her backpack. Now she has this pink suitcase right here that we can see that she didn't have before, which she got on November 11th. And then, interestingly, this is around the time where her phone would stop, would either die, she got rid of it. We don't know, exactly what she did, but the phone would stop. It would be turned off.
Because at 4 p.m. that day, Hannah's phone pings for the very last time at LAX before going dark. At 5 p.m., according to her family's most recent timeline, Hannah was seen talking to a ticketing agent at LAX. But that would not be the last time that she would be seen. Because hours later, at 9:04 p.m., Hannah is seen boarding the LAX Metro C line at Aviation Century Station, which is the metro station located right outside of LAX. So this would obviously make sense if she couldn't get a standby flight still and decided to take public transportation to go somewhere else.
So here is, I've got the grid, so here is LAX right here. And this is the metro line, and of course they got different lines, A through E or maybe even above. But this green line is the C line, which then will connect to the A line, which she took, and this was kind of the last known location. But then we have more updates from that.
But where was she going?
But she was also, apparently there was another guy on this same metro line when she was on there with a unidentified individual that still hasn't, his identity still hasn't been released. But this man allegedly talked to both of them. And so it's kind of an interesting conversation.
This line travels east, but then Hannah transferred trains at the Rosa Parks station so that she could then travel north more into Los Angeles by taking the A line. According to a story shared with her family on the Help Us Find Hannah Facebook group, someone remembers being on that train with Hannah and another man. And Hannah's sister Sydney was actually the one that shared this post, and this is what it said.
Hello. I remember seeing Hannah alongside a male, African-American male. Hannah had a suitcase with her. The male with her offered my son and I his seat when we got to the C-Line station at the Lenox Hawthorne entrance. We were coming back from the LA Rams game. I then began speaking to the male about the football game and about the C-Line access to the game shuttle. During our conversation, Hannah did mention something about transportation where she's from. I asked her where she's from, and she quietly said she was from Maui. She was wearing her hair down. She had glasses on and a dark-colored sweater. When they got close...
And that's a perfect description. We'll show more photos of her. Obviously, that's what she was wearing. She had the tie-dye pants. the black sweatshirt, glasses.
Closer to their exit, the male did tell Hannah that they were going to be getting off on Avalon exit. That is where they both got off, and only the man...
Now, I think he got confused, and they'll explain this here in a minute. I think they actually got off on Rosa Park, so maybe which is just one more stop down, because that's where then it'll connect to where you can go north. So he may have just kind of thought it was this station, but it was actually the next station.
Said goodbye. He also told me thank you for the information about the transportation history we discussed, and I just said no problem, make sure you look it up. I had shared that the first person that was ever fatally struck by the Metro when it first opened up years ago was mother to my aunt's husband. We also discussed information about the Metro and 105 freeway. Hannah didn't really speak much. She seemed really tired and out of it and disassociated. Lost even. They didn't seem to know each other well. I am almost 100% sure this was her. I hope the cameras can be checked on the platform of C-Line and or inside the train. And remember, C-Line is what she was taking from LAX before switching lines at the Rosa Parks station, like Heath said. This person is saying that they got off at Avalon. That is the exit right before Rosa Parks station. Her family says she got off at Rosa Parks. Rosa Parks station is where she would then transfer to take the A line to go into Los Angeles and not be taken further east. So I think this person is confused. It does seem to be Rosa Parks. But this is crazy if what this person is saying is true. If they really did see Hannah, if she seemed disoriented or out of it, if she was.
And yeah, that is concerning. There's so many details we still don't know. But, you know, the fact that she has been spotted since then is a good sign. Now, whether the family knew all this and they still were running the GoFundMe, that is still yet to be, discovered as far as who knew what. And I do understand the frustration for people who did donate. And then if the family did know certain details, I don't blame them. Now, I don't understand why people would threaten their families and children. I mean, that's just truly disgusting. Please don't do that. Even if there is a possibility if there was a scam behind this, we still don't know all the details, so we still have to be kind of careful. But I hate seeing that. It's terrible.
With this chatty man.
And then on top of that, I think what, is just as important is
we're going to look into that just a little bit.
Potentially saw them is able to identify this male that she was with. Any facial features, what he was wearing, if there's anything else that they could have noticed about this person.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to skip this forward a little bit. So this is the line, and then this is where she's going to be getting off.
On her communication earlier that day, quote, "We started getting texts saying that she didn't feel safe, that someone was trying to steal her funds, that someone was trying to take her identity, weird things, calling us babe, things that weren't quite the normal way that she speaks." But the problem is, with Hannah's phone last pinging at LAX, it seems that her phone likely died. And now it's been almost 2 weeks since this happened with no confirmed sightings after this.
The rad move.
And yeah, why would she leave her phone there unless there was intention to kind of, like this was a ruse to throw people off, the family off, and, she needed to go her separate ways. She is an adult, but I still have issues. The fact that, people have been searching for her. She's had to have known that, because it's, been 3 weeks, we're kind of 3 weeks behind. I'm assuming she's had to have heard about at least a lot of this. And I'm just blown away that she has. I mean, we don't know if she has reached out, discreetly, and they just have not released that to the public.
Which is a non-profit organization, has been assisting in the search.
Kobayashi.
Okay. So we're going to go ahead and skip this. So now we're going to get up to more of the updates. So at the time, before the other day, all we had, it was the last time we knew was Monday, November 11th at 10 p.m. she was seen getting off that metro station with an unknown individual. Now, we have November has been confirmed. There was a SF Investigates, Steve Fisher, and he's been involved twice now, according to his statements. And he said that it's been confirmed, and now it's also been, with multiple sources saying that she was seen at a Greyhound terminal, and I'll show where that is from where she was last seen, where it looks like she traveled, I think, northeast from where she was last seen on November 11th, and she went to this Greyhound station, and she was seen on camera at 6:30. So we'll look at that footage. Hopefully, I'll get on time.
I was actually looking for some spiritual help as well.
Should be in about 20 minutes.
Were you getting the spiritual help that when you were paying?
So from the crypto, which was the last place she was, last seen up until this new information, now they had seen her on surveillance at 6:30. This is the actual place.
This is Union Station.
This guy here is Steve Fisher. He is the guy that was investigating. So I'm going to just play that out here.
Where Greyhound is, and this is where you would come in if you took the metro in. If you walked, you would come down this tunnel. Either way, it's the same thing.
No pictures have been released yet.
Really
thank you so much, Unrebel. God bless.
So I don't think you could fuck out of sight of the surveillance cameras. You got those, and then when you get up here, you got cameras like this one. You got one in the middle. It's a 360 cam. You got
cameras everywhere.
And then the ticketing for Greyhound is right here. And you see there's two cameras there. There's two cameras on the left side. There's one above the ATM. When you come out, there's one right there. There's one right there. And they got multiple cameras over there. And then you go up here to the plaza, and they've got two Greyhound bus bays. So I think it'd be hard to stay out of sight of the surveillance cameras. And also,
there's no way.
There's a bus that leaves at 7:30, and the next one after that, I think, is like 11. So the 7:30 one heads to San Francisco, which would make sense. That's on Tuesdays, and that's the day that she was spotted. So I have a feeling that's the bus she probably got on. And Greyhound has a very small presence here. I mean, this is all like Metro, Amtrak, and everything. For them to specifically say Greyhound, they must have seen her buy a ticket. So that's my thoughts.
And since then, he has allegedly, according to him, and he's been right, so I'm going to go with his information. He had called out the metro station when he was when she was seen allegedly getting off on November 11th. He had mentioned that before really it was kind of announced. So far, I would say what he's posted has been credible. And he even said about the being spotted at the Greyhound, and now that has been confirmed by multiple sources. So according to him, she took the 6:35, so she got there at 6:30, bought a ticket, and then went to Isidro. I probably just butchered the heck out of it. Isidro. If someone wanted in the chat, I could probably look that up. I apologize if I butchered that. Honestly, I've never heard of that town, but it's close to obviously the border of Mexico. I do apologize if I butchered that. So now what's interesting is in her, in some of her messages to her friend, she said, I'm going to the Redwoods. Well, the Redwoods are up north. So it's very interesting that she had mentioned that almost to kind of like throw people off in a way, like saying, hey, I'm going to go up to the Redwoods.
The mayor, Montserrat Caballero, inaugurated the Tijuana-San Diego binational route, which aims to expedite the monthly transfer of approximately...
And then instead of going north, she went south. And then, all right, so we got in 10 minutes we'll check out the press conference. I think it starts at 6:30. Let me know, mods, if it by chance starts earlier. So this was a video. I'm just kind of skipping forward so I can make sure we're on time for the press conference. But that's a video saying that bus hound, the Greyhound, from that station where she went to, does go into Tijuana. So Hannah's sister will be sharing updates as she feels necessary. Okay, continuing on. But according to the family, they also posted this saying that she was spotted on CCTV footage at the Greyhound bus stop. And this is according to... Now, this is where it gets a little odd, and maybe we'll have to come back to this because the press conference is coming up. So maybe we'll kind of touch on this after the press conference. But, you know, he says, according to SF Investigates, she was not abducted. She's not a victim of trafficking. There are numerous details that have not been disclosed, which he did say that because he's been out there twice, and he did feel like, according to him, that like the family wasn't releasing all the details. So that's where there's kind of a lot of friction with people, especially, I understand it, especially if you donated to the Facebook group, and then kind of finding out that they may have known that she was still, kind of, obviously she wasn't trafficked. But again, we still don't have all the details yet. According to several close to her, and I will show some posts about this, I don't want to label her like some like drug addict, but there is some kind of, some evidence, in her previous posts that, she does kind of experiment with some stuff. It's also been told that she was estranged not only from her now deceased father, but other several family members as well. Again, we still have to take that with a grain of salt. We know about the father, but the family members, again, we still have to take some of this with a grain of salt. But what he mentions here, there are questions that need clarification. Is Hannah legally married to an Alan C. from Argentina? Was the ex-boyfriend who was on the plane with her also married? Because I did see someone in chat when I covered this the other day say that, the boyfriend was married. And I was like, oh, wow, that was fast. So, again, there are some kind of theories about, some kind of green card scam. Again, it's a pretty deep rabbit hole. I'm not sure. Let's see here. May have to come back to this Allen thing. It is interesting. So this is a lady. I don't know if this is a flight attendant. Hannah told my daughter this is the mother of a flight attendant that was on the flight. And said, Hannah told my daughter that the day before she left that she was changing her seat assignment because she thought it'd be awkward sitting next to her ex for the flight. There's a few things you still don't know, stuff the cops are keeping to themselves. She met a weird dude at work, been communicating through email and a text app. He gave her 2 different names and said he was a music producer in LA. My daughter and other coworkers warned her not to trust this dude. And then there's this mention. There was also another couple from Argentina traveling. So here we have this Alan in Argentina, which again is another whole rabbit hole. Let me see. We may have to kind of come back to this. And then there's the mention of Alan in her itinerary. Is this a different Alan? For her itinerary for New York. And then here is just something I want to post before we get to the conference. So, an old post that she had on Facebook, she said, I took the red pill, and I just thought that was interesting. This was 14 years ago. But then, with her mentioning the Matrix underworld, obviously Matrix, referring to the red pill, So I thought that was interesting. And then the big red flag in my opinion, that maybe this could be a ruse, at least on her part. I gotta skip this. This is another rabbit hole as well. So I'm skipping this just because we have the press conference coming up, or I would go through this. So she mentions that she's going to get on a bus. So there's a hint, the word bus. And she was going to go for the Redwoods. For those that are not familiar, the Redwoods, there's a lot of them, but, you know, it's up Northern California. I think it's in Oregon. I've never been. It looks beautiful. But I thought that was interesting that, you know, she kind of hints that she's going to go there. So she's going to go up north, maybe intentionally trying to throw them off. I don't know. Again, there's still so much we don't know. Still, it's just speculation. But I would say probably the most glaring red flag in all this would be what she stated here. And that was when she was messaging her friend and she had these weird messages. But her friend had asked her, you know, after she had said she's going to go to a homeless shelter because she didn't have any money. Her friend said, you should be spending money to continue to travel. You have a home you need to go back to. Yes, you can. Where's your ID? She responds, I have it and my passport. Well, that's interesting because she's a native of Hawaii. That's part of America. Even though she's traveling from one island to the States, you know, that's all United States. That's all U.S. citizen. You don't need a passport, you know, for that. Unless you're going, obviously, to another country. And so, you know, if she was only going to New York, why would she need her passport? You know, unless she had plans. Other plans, possibly. So, I thought that was interesting. You know, maybe she just takes it just to have it. But, again, that is a kind of an interesting item that she took with her. And now, obviously, with her now we know that she was spotted in heading to New York, Mexico. That makes sense with the passport. Yeah, Catnat. Yeah, the family closed the Facebook page. Yeah, there was a couple of reasons they did that. You know, there's still a lot of information we don't know, but they were getting death threats, which I do hate because we still don't have all the information. And even if a scam, death threats, I mean, I understand voicing your frustration, but, you know, threatening children, I think that's too much. Okay, let's see. Is anybody, mods, do you know if we have a link for this? Oh, Hannah's trending here. Oh boy, everybody's doing a live stream. There's Coffin Dapper. Shout out to Coffin Dapper, who is in the chat. Been covering this case as well. Mods, does anybody know where I can get the link? Maybe I should just type it up in here. This is going to be on... Oh, ABC 7. Okay, bless you. Oh, if I can spell right. ABC 7. Oh, Copper Horse, you are a legend. Again, please shout out to everybody taking the time out of the day to watch the show.
That may be the case. Research shows blue light from a phone or TV.
I believe it's supposed to start in 5 minutes. Yeah, Critical Minds. Yeah, you are right. Yeah, passports could be used as a form of identification, but she did mention in that, you know, she had her ID I'm assuming a government ID plus a passport is what. But yes, you are right. Again, I don't have a lot of experience. Unfortunately, I haven't just had gotten a chance to travel to another country, so I've never dealt with passports or anything like that. What is the title of this? Okay. All right. Let's get to chat. Alvis says the family know where she went. It's possible, hopefully we'll get all the details, especially for those that spent, put money towards the GoFundMe. I do understand the frustration, and that's why, again, I said early at the beginning, I am always very cautious about, when there's these missing people and there's GoFundMes that get, released to help the families. I never put them out there, just because there's a lot of times, for some reason, they go south. It's terrible. Courtney D coming in with a $4.99 super sticker. Bless you. Thank you so much. That really helps this channel out. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. We do cover true crime. I do short videos as well. And even though it's winter time, once summer comes, we do actually go out searching for the missing as well. As a matter of fact, while we are waiting, we have 1,300 people in here. Something we also do is we feature missing people. We cover big cases, but then we attach these smaller, missing people that unfortunately just don't have the same attention, because it's just kind of how it works. But we have Stephanie Damron, I hope pronounced that right. Missing September 24th of this year out of New Sweden, Maine. I believe she was 14 years old. I wonder if I can get a few more details on her while we wait. Stephanie Damron missing. Let's see if we get some more details about her. Oh. Now it's up to a $1,500 reward. Okay, we got 2 minutes, I think, here. Yeah, 14. Last seen leaving her home in northeastern Maine more than 2 months ago. Last seen on September 23rd, walking into the woods on West Road. Oh, it's terrible. There's a $15,000 reward. If we can, we'll kind of come back and look at that. But I always kind of like to feature, because there's so many kids that go missing every day. And so we try to cover big cases and then attach these, smaller cases or just recent missing children that just unfortunately don't have the same media attention, because sometimes they're just recently gone missing, or just sometimes there's just so many missing people they don't have the same media attention as other cases.
Live breaking news.
Okay, here we go, guys.
Breaking news. Welcome back.
I'm going to go full page here.
I'm Giovanna Lotta. You're watching Eyewitness News at 5, live on ABC 7, Hulu, and wherever you stream. We're following breaking news at 5:30. The LAPD is expected to give an update on the disappearance of Hana Kobayashi.
The 30-year-old went missing on the 8th of November. She was on her way from Maui to New York with a connecting flight at LAX. She missed that connection. The LAPD saying that it appears she did it on purpose. Tonight, ABC 7 learning there is video showing her crossing the border into Mexico. This is a case that has perplexed a lot of people, and what you're seeing now is the new chief of the LAPD, just sworn in last week, Jim McDonnell, to update us on this disappearance.
Can you guys hear
of
that
Hana
okay? Let me
Kobayashi.
know in chat. I can always boost it.
Sure, whatever you want.
Okay, he's just been given a 30-second cue by somebody, so we're going to wait for him for a couple of seconds. But it's really a lot of people concerned about
A
this.
lot of people concerned about this. Just today, we heard from Hana Kobayashi's family. They announced that they were taking down the Facebook page that they had posted asking for help, looking for her. That was an announcement today. They said they had been receiving a lot of negative comments, so they removed that Facebook. Also, you and I were talking about the fact that her father took his own life. Was it a week or two ago?
Last week. Yeah.
Good afternoon, and thank you for being here today with us. I'm joined here today by Assistant Chief Chow, Deputy Chief Alan Hamilton, and Lieutenant Oldfield from our Missing Persons Unit. I wanted to provide you an update on the ongoing search for 30-year-old Hana Kobayashi, who was reported missing last month. As the family is aware, late yesterday, after traveling to the U.S.-Mexico border, we reviewed video surveillance from U.S. Customs and Border Protection, which clearly shows Kobayashi crossing the United States border on foot into Mexico. She was alone with her luggage and appeared unharmed. At this time, Kobayashi's case has been classified as a voluntary missing person. I know over the last few days there have been several questions raised surrounding her flight to New York. Our investigation, corroborated by video evidence, clearly shows Hana at LAX appearing unharmed after arriving from Maui on November 8th of this year. For unknown reasons, she decided not to board her pre-scheduled flight to New York that same day. From November 8th to 11th, video footage and still imagery showed Hana at various locations around Los Angeles. This information was subsequently verified by LAPD detectives. While she did check her bag through to New York, she requested her bag be sent to her at LAX, where we have surveillance footage of her retrieving it from the baggage carousel on November 11th. LAPD Missing Persons Unit has conducted extensive witness interviews, reviewed video surveillance, and collaborated with local and federal law enforcement agencies on this case. To date, the investigation has not uncovered any evidence that Kobayashi is being trafficked or is the victim of foul play. She is also not a suspect in any criminal activity. Additionally, the investigators noted that before departing Maui, Kobayashi expressed the desire to step away from modern connectivity. Our priority is ensuring Ms. Kobayashi's safety and well-being, and we urge Ms. Kobayashi to contact her family, law enforcement, or personnel at the U.S. Embassy to let us know that she is safe. She has a right to her privacy, and we respect her choices, but we also understand that the concern her loved ones feel for her. A simple message could reassure those who care about her. While the LAPD investigation will not continue into Mexico, if anyone has credible information about Hana's whereabouts, please contact local law enforcement. If Kobayashi returns to the United States, law enforcement will be notified. The missing person case will remain active in the missing and unidentified persons system until her safety is confirmed by law enforcement. Anyone with additional information regarding this case may contact the Los Angeles Police Department at 877-LAPD 24/7 or 877-527-3247. Anonymous tips can also be submitted to Los Angeles Regional Crime Stoppers at www.lacrimestoppers.org. Let me open it up now if you have any questions. If I cannot answer them, if the detail is such, I will refer it to one of my partners here.
Safe to say that no crime has been committed yet, no evidence of that.
I'm sorry, say that again?
Safe to say that no crime has been committed, there is no evidence of it.
At this point, we have not been able to determine any crime has been committed.
Chief, given that there's no reason then for any law enforcement agency to detain or arrest her at all at this point.
That's correct.
Is there any indication from her family that there were arguments, disagreements, problems prior to her leaving Hawaii and during a period of a month where she's been sort of seen, not seen?
Yeah, I mean, it's no indication that there would be anything to cause this to happen in this fashion, for her to go off. But like any family situation, you know, who knows what the dynamics are.
How did you learn that she had a desire to disconnect from modern technology? How did you learn that piece of information?
Yeah, let me address that to Lieutenant Oldfield, if you would, Doug.
Delphi, your first and last name, please.
Douglas Oldfield, Douglas, last name Oldfield, Oldfield. I'm the officer in charge of the Special Enforcement Section out of Detective Support and Vice Division, which handles the missing person unit.
Good question.
Right, so for the question of whether she wanted to disconnect, by looking at her past social media, we then saw indications that there were some desires or posts that would be consistent in somebody who would have the desire to disconnect from their phone. I think it's not something that I have available right now. It's just that was part of the investigation. Are we 100% right on that? We can't say, right? We just know that she did not have her phone after she left LAX, right, around 1800 to 1900. We know she doesn't have her phone on her. For what reason? We can't say for sure.
How did she get from LA to the U.S.-Mexico border? Do you have any idea?
Yes. So she traveled through the MTA. She then made it to Union Station. At Union Station, she used her passport and cash to purchase a ticket to get to the border, and she then crossed the border.
Have you seen the video of the border? How would you
Yes.
describe or characterize how she appeared to be?
She appeared fine. She was with nobody else. I have nothing additional, but I have observed the video, yes.
I spoke with Hannah's sister earlier today. She says the family disagrees with law enforcement's assessment. What do you say to them?
Well, fantastic. Thank you.
Alan Hamilton, I'm the Chief of Detectives for the LAPD. We understand that there are concerns on behalf of family and friends. We've been very transparent with the family to this point. We have had daily communication and contact with family members, and we've given all the information that we can provide in terms of what our investigation has entailed, what the efforts have been on behalf of the LAPD and other partner law enforcement agencies. We've put a lot of resources into this investigation. So just to be clear to the public, the LAPD has taken this report seriously from the moment that we received it, and we have expended a lot of resources to include a trip this past weekend to the U.S.-Mexico border to collaborate with our partners there. So this is an investigation where we've done a lot of things face-to-face with our partners, and we've gone to extraordinary measures in terms of our technological investigations in this case. We've really left no stone unturned, and it's led us to this conclusion and the information that the chief is providing today.
Alan, I don't know whether you or the lieutenant wants to run, but is there anything in the information you gained from previous messages, things like that, which mentioned a name of a person, a group, or something that might want to assist her in disconnecting from society? Is this an individual desire, or she expressed some kind of a knowledge or an awareness of a certain type of pattern of social organization she might want to join somewhere in Mexico?
Generalized individual desire, we have no information that she's working with anyone else.
You guys have had a couple of these cases recently, unfortunately, where women have decided to just, make a change or disappear on their own. Just any words you would say to someone thinking about this, or just encourage them, I guess? You guys take all these cases so seriously. It requires a lot of manpower.
A tremendous amount of manpower, yeah. Yeah, a lot of personnel involved in any major investigation like this, and in order to try and protect those that are in many cases very vulnerable. My ask would be to anybody considering doing this, think about the people that you're leaving behind, your loved ones who are going to be worried sick about you, the number of people, including law enforcement and other partners who are going to be looking for you, which then potentially takes them away from other work that is also critically important. So there's a lot other than somebody just deciding that they want to leave and disconnect. Consider those that are behind you and those that will be impacted by your actions.
Obviously, your heart goes out to the family. They're worried about the
Absolutely.
father. And of course, we know that the father is gone as well. So
Right.
this is a family that's faced a lot of tragedy.
Right.
What would you say to them, Chief?
I'm very sorry to the family for all that they've been through throughout this ordeal. We're very sorry for their loss. And I don't know that words can express, the feelings that they're going through during this very difficult time. But there's a lot of people very much in support of what they're going through.
In essence, Chief, this is back on the family at this point. They and the daughter basically have got to settle this between them.
Yeah, I mean, we're we've basically done everything we can do at this point. She's left the nation, left the country, and in another nation now. So, as I mentioned in the earlier comments, that if she comes back into the U.S., law enforcement will be notified of that, and try and do whatever we can if there's a need to at that time.
Mexican authorities, though, have a certain degree of latitude way beyond what forces here in the United States might have. Have you advised them of the situation, filled them in as much as you can? Might they decide to take action on their own, whatever that might decide to be?
Yeah, I haven't had any interaction. I don't know if, no, nothing, no.
What day did she cross over and roughly what time?
Oh, I can.
Yeah, please.
November 12th at 12:13 p.m. She walked through the tunnel that leads to Mexico.
And in San Diego there?
Yeah, she walked through so it's the San Ysidro port of entry, and she walked through the tunnel that leads to Mexico, and that was at 12:13 on the 12th. 12:13 p.m.
What about the text messages that she sent to her family before it went silent that sounded as though she was in distress? Can you speak to her state of mind and what indication that gave to you?
Yeah, I'm going to address it.
Yeah, good.
So we can't speak to her state of mind. We are aware there have been some communications prior. We are aware of that communication, and we cannot necessarily interpret. I think some of the communication can be interpreted a number of different ways. So at this time, we're not able to interpret those communications without having Hannah present to explain, how she felt when she sent them and what the specific meanings were for those messages.
Let's do one more question. Hannah was seen with an unknown person at Metro Station.
I can address that.
Yeah. Arena. Any idea who that person was?
So the question was about the individual that she was identified traveling with on the Metro. We have identified that individual. That individual was cooperative in the investigation. That individual cooperated by allowing himself to be interviewed with his attorney present and family members. He gave a full disclosure of the entire sequence of events. We utilized independent investigative techniques to verify his story, and it fully checked out.
What was the relationship? What were the intentions?
They met at LAX. All right, thank you.
All right, the LAPD now giving information about the disappearance of Hannah Kobayashi. It was voluntary from their investigation. She is, as far as they can tell, alive and well and living in Mexico. She crossed over, as you just heard, on November 13th. Or November 12th at 12:13 in the afternoon, alone, in good health. And as far as they're concerned, although it's not closed because they need to actually contact her in order to close the case, the indications are that there is no crime that has been committed. She is neither a perpetrator nor a victim of any crime.
Yeah. And we have breaking news to tell you about in Torrance. Chris Christie is in Air 7 over it. Chris, what's happening?
That's right, Giovanna. What appears to be a shooting investigation at the intersection of Oregon Court and Maple Avenue.
Oh. Much I'd like to check that out. I don't want to see any bodies. What do you guys think, man? To be honest, I just want to kind of say, I'm glad she's okay, because again, as I said before, we've covered so many missing person cases like this. Could name a bunch of them where sadly they don't end well. So this is a really, like I said, it's kind of bittersweet because it's like, that's great. She's alive. She's well. Doesn't look like she was coerced, drugged, trafficked, anything like that. But again, you have the father, her biological father who went out searching for her, and then for whatever reason, took his own life, which is just very tragic. And the fact that she just hasn't reached out, again, there's still some things we may not know. Maybe they did mention some communication before that. If you guys caught that, they said that there was some communication, but they didn't really specify what that was. Maybe that was between the family and her. But yeah, I do. I feel bad for the father, even if there was estranged. He's out there looking. So, man, what a messed up situation. again, it's bittersweet's the only thing I can think of because, again, thank God she's alive, but now there's still so many answers. And again, I know there's a lot of frustration towards the family, you know, of what they knew, the GoFundMe's. Man, still a lot of unanswered questions. But at the very least, we know up to mid-November she's okay. But yeah, it looks like there was, if you, like I said, when you look back at some of the text messages she sent, it seems like she was trying to, maybe this was the plan all along, or maybe this was like a plan B, you know, because she did set up these meetings in New York. That's what's just wild about this case, you know. She had hotels booked in New York. It's crazy. Nadia says, until I see her, I'm not convinced. I mean, I understand that. Yeah, I think they should release some of this surveillance. Somebody in chat said that I wanted to see. Someone said that I don't think they mentioned at the press conference that there's evidence of her crossing the tunnel, crossing the border tunnel. Let me see here real quick. Oh my God, there's so many ads everywhere. Yeah, I'm not sure where that was mentioned, but yeah, it does. Yeah, cats. Yeah, I mean, because that sounded like a legit, you know, sighting of the guy that was on the metro train that supposedly had a conversation with her, and then possibly this person that she was with. Um, Let me refresh here. Yeah, I mean, that's tough. Now, she kind of now, yeah, you would think, you know, of course, everybody's got a phone. Um, Even though she left her one phone, you know, if she's with other people, she has to know what's been going on. I mean, you know, we're almost, you know, we're 3 months behind on her travels. And so, I mean, yeah, I would think she has to know what's going on. Is she kind of scared to come forward now with, you know, the death of her father? Man, it's so wild. There's another thing I saw. We'll just go over a couple more things and then we'll finish up here. But I did see this. And still, take this with a grain of salt till I can actually verify it. But I did also, before I went live, I did notice that she had this, I don't know if a home that she had for rent. And someone said that just before she left, it was pending for a sale. And now it has been sold. Let me read this. Fact checked, yes, that the address listed as her residence. The house was sold on 8/17. Wait. Okay, 2023. That was listed for rent on 8/12/2024. What's that? August? July, August, yep. And listing the rent was removed on 8/15/2024. The home was listed for sale on 9/14 and sold on 10/28. Hannah did not own this home. I have confirmed this property records, but for the sake of family, did not own the home. I will not be posting documents, images. Okay. Interesting. Man, there's still a lot of rabbit holes in this. Let's see this News Nation report real quick. There's just see if there's any other details real quick, and then we'll finish up here. And let me get to chat as well while we do this. Or did they just play the conference?
You guys don't mind? Check.
Here today by.
No, okay, this is just the conference. Okay. Maybe this was something else. Wow, what a wild case. TJ, it's very scary. I'm Mexican, and I used to go with my family often. I do not want to go back there alone. It's been over 10 years since I've been there. Yeah, I could see that, it's what brought her down there. Is there more to this than we don't understand, or is this really just her on some journey or whatever? But still, if she has not reached out to the family or police, I still, and if she's okay in good health, that's not good. Yeah, that is a good question. How come authorities were so behind on this? You would think. I mean, you had this investigator, FS investigates. He goes out there for like 2 days, comes back, then goes out for another 2 days, and he was ahead of it. Yeah, there was a mention that she allegedly had two phones. Again, there's a lot of potential information that hasn't been verified, and then of course a lot of speculation and misinformation. So it's tough to say what is true and what's not. And I don't want to get too down the rabbit hole. Yeah, one last thing I want to show just before I finish, just to kind of show again, this is not trying to label her as like some junkie or anything like that. It showed there's a post that she made right here. And then we'll finish up. So this was 11 weeks ago. So 2.5 months ago or something like that. Hey, I would really like to connect with friendly people who are into music and raves and adventure. I just turned 31. I'm looking for my tribe. You don't have to be a producer or content creator, just a regular person adding excitement to your life. Sharing your rave trip or nature walk you've been on, nothing crazy. Where are my people? And coincidentally, for those that don't know, her middle name, and I hope I don't butcher this, it's Middereeve, and I probably butchered that. I am so sorry if I did. But she goes on to say, I'm pretty sure this is her account. She says, you sound like my kind of people. I recently went to Chicago for the first time to experience true house music at the source. Every trip moving forward right now for me is based off exploring the epicenters of music and what speaks to me. Chicago was so incredible and inspirational, especially all the local talent and intimate afters. I just secured my ticket for Movement in Detroit, and I will be flying solo exploring New York City soon and diving into all kinds of music experiences. Super ready to dive deeper with sound. So it's weird because it's like she did have this trip. I mean, with the itinerary and everything, it seems like this was set up, but then I don't know, maybe with her splitting up with the boyfriend, knowing that the boyfriend's going to New York, maybe that kind of threw off her vibe, and now she's like, you know what, I'm going to stay here in LA. And then it still doesn't excuse her, if she made up all this stuff about being, hacked and all that. Still, God, lot more to dissect and read between the lines of what's really, true or not. But at the end, to me, what I see here is, her saying that she's going to the Redwoods. I think that's interesting that, she claims she's going to go all the way up north to Northern California, maybe to try to throw them off. And then she heads south to the border into Mexico. Is that just kind of a coincidence? Or was that intentional? Who knows? Hawaiian-born have many names in their name. Interesting. I would love to go to Hawaii. God, looks like such a beautiful place. Let me finish up. Again, let me know your thoughts. Please try to be respectful in the chat. We'll be back here on Wednesday. For my patrons, there's plenty of ways to support the channel if you would like. It's not, it's not something I beg for, but we do try to help out with the missing. Unfortunately, in this case, I mean, again, like I said, it's a bittersweet case because, it's a missing person that, for right now, we know is, at least as far as November 13th, she's alive and well, which I think is great because, again, covering cases like this, a lot of times don't have a happy ending. But then again, it's bittersweet because if she deceived her family, and then, of course, there's also the GoFundMe. What did the family know? There's still a lot more unanswered questions. And I understand those people that supported the family, deserve answers. But a huge shout out to Kimberly. Thank you so much for the PayPal. God bless you. And again, for my patrons and members, I am going to be doing something tomorrow for you guys. And then Wednesday, we'll be back live. We do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, typically with live shows at around 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Kat, I saw you earlier. Thank you so much for the $5 super sticker. Alan, thank you so much for your memberships. Thank you to all the members that support this channel. God bless you. Courtney, thank you so much for the $4.99. Jocelyn, 21 months, almost 2 years supporting this channel and being a member. Sensei, God bless you. And then just a huge shout out to my wonderful mods. For doing such an amazing job in the chat. God bless you guys. But with that, I think we'll finish up. If there is another update on it, we may cover it once more. Still keeping my eye on the Sebastian Rogers case. I still have a lot of information I have to dissect on that. So with that, I think we are going to head out. Yeah, I agree with a lot of people that are kind of upset and that she needs to kind of come forward. Yeah, I do agree with that, especially with the death of the father and these weird texts. I do think she owes some people some explanations. There's still the possibility that there's some kind of mental health, and I've worked on a case. I'm still trying to finalize it, but there's mental health is a bitch. And it can come out of nowhere, and we don't know if that did play a factor in what's going on. All right, guys. I hope you guys have the rest of a wonderful Monday, Tuesday, wherever you're at. With that, we're going to head out, and we'll see you guys Wednesday. God bless you guys. We'll see you guys soon. Much love.